Hello guys, this is Aftermath here, and we're doing part 2 of Soaring Hearts. Rainbow Dash opened her eyes groggily and flopped over on her right side. She wanted to go back to sleep, but the sun had other plans for her this morning. Pegasus gave in and sat up in bed, mane tousled and droopy-eyed, and looked to her left where she kept her magic sundial. Although she could have guessed at the time, same thing every morning, 7:45 a.m. sharp. Rainbow Dash rubbed her eyes briefly and then I don't know what that word was. I don't know. I had a hard time pronouncing that word. Flopped back into her pillows. What to do today? What to do? And I'm not going to try voices right now because my voice is still a little messed up since the game we had last night or a few nights ago. She thought of yesterday, of the gala, the lightning rain boom, and of Soaring. His emerald green eyes, his light blue coat, the scent of his mane, and as he carried her home, as well as his invitation to her before he departed. Rainbow Dash sat up once more, exited at the prospect of being able to hang out with her idols. They had a big show coming up, so she might be able to watch them practice, if she was lucky. But her mind quickly wandered back to the one wonderbolt that captivated her, that showed her something amazing. Letting her mind continue down the path of memories of last night, she pondered at Soren's parting words. Wouldn't want that pretty face getting scared now. Rainbow Dash felt a strange sense of warmth invade her chest, a feeling most completely foreign to her. The flight home may have been brief, but it was spectacular. She remembered burying her muzzle into Soren's flowing dark blue mane. Once she opened her eyes, she found she was hugging her cloud pillow tightly, against her face. Immediately, Rainbow Dash flung the pillow at the wall, impacting with a soft thud. "What in Equestria am I doing?" she said, annoyed at her own foolishness. She rolled off her bed, landing on all four of her hooves simultaneously, and made her way over to her bedroom doorway. Acting like one of those mushy-gushy mares. Ridiculous. Rainbow Dash huffed as she walked down the stairs, forcing her own thoughts out of her mind. As she descended the staircase, she looked at her home. It was a beautiful house, by any standards, but despite all of its glorious furnishing and decor, the place somehow felt empty. Much like the sky felt when she was flying home from the gala, until Soren caught up with her at least. Rainbow Dash didn't want to stay cooped up all day in such a melancholic setting. I don't know why I call it melodramatic all the time. I did that the first time reading too. I was like, well, wait. I was like, oh wait, it's melancholic. My bad. I guess melodramatic could be kind of the same thing. So she decided to take Soren up on his offer to join him at the Wonderbolt's HQ. Rainbow Dash trotted over to her front door and nudged it with her nose, opening noiselessly, my bad. The blue Pegasus stepped outside with her wings above her forehead, shielding her eyes from the direct sunlight. The blue Pegasi slowly opened her eyes, forcing herself to adjust to the harsh sunlight, and once she was mostly accustomed to the brightness, she lowered her wings from her forehead, accidentally pulling her bangs in front of her eyes. She examined the frazzled strands of hair for a moment, flipped them back into place, and returned the gaze to the sky in front of her. Out in the distance, miles and miles away, she spotted some violent looking thunderheads. She She briefly debated whether or not to risk trying to get to the Wonderbolt's HQ and back or not. As she was contemplating, the young Pegasus let out a small yawn and walked toward the edge of her cloud, bouncing a bit to stretch out some of her leg muscles. Rainbow looked over the edge, expecting to see the green earth and town of Ponyville below, but instead found herself standing above something completely different. Only 20 feet down, a sea of thick altostratus clouds were rolling past at a startling speed. "I don't remember seeing any of this in the weather report at the weather factory," she said to herself. "Unless—" Rainbow Dash brought a hoof to her face, just above the eyes with an audible clop sound, as she realized the reason for the unexpected weather occurrence. They put Ditzy-Doo in charge today. And if you don't know, Ditzy-Doo is derpy. She sighed, removed her hoofs from her face, and looked over once more. Rainbow Dash shrugged and simply walked off the edge and aimed herself towards the dark river of fog below her, wings tucked close to her body to gain velocity. She plowed through the fog, which basically fog is cloud, and within seconds emerged on the other side, drenched and spreading her wings to slow her already slow fall. When she came to a midair stop, she shot back up into the dense cloud. The cold water served as a makeshift shower, and also served to jolt her awake. She shot out of the cloud once again, creating a plume of vapor behind her as she skyrocketed past her home and into the open sky. After several meters, Rainbow Dash slowed herself and hovered. As the sun beamed down upon her, the water in her mane and tail retracted brilliantly, creating a spectacular rainbow glow around her entire body. She looked over her shoulder in the direction where she saw the rain clouds, then turned back to the direction where the Rainbow Bolt's Wonderbolt's headquarters smirked to herself. I'm the best flyer ever born. No dumb rain clouds can stop me. Rainbow Dash stuck her tongue out at the Thunderheads as if taunting them, and bolted off towards Cloudsville, a spectacular rainbow flowing behind her. The Wonderbolt's main HQ was absolutely massive. Rainbow Dash had always admired it whenever she flew by, but standing directly before it, about to enter, felt surreal. As Rainbow Dash stood in front of the Coliseum-sized building, she took the time to study the huge Doric-style columns stretched up almost out of sight, and the expert cloud craftsmanship on the door frame. I wonder how that works, cloud craftsmanship. Also, craftsmanship, you just say cloud all the time. I don't know. Anyway, she took a deep breath, trying to quell her nervousness in her chest as she clip-clopped her way up the steps. She was actually going to hang out with her... She was actually going to hang out with her idols, at last. When she got to the door, there was a large button beneath the speaker to the right, and nothing else. Seeing no other course of action, and for her own curiosity's sake, she pushed the button. Rainbow Dash released pressure on the button and stepped back. Moments later, the speaker crackled to life. "Hello?" a deep male voice said. Yeah, I'm here to see Soaring. I'm on the VIP list." Rainbow Dash gave herself a mental buck. "To see Soaring? What in the hay is wrong with you, girl? Name?" She took herself out of her daze. "Rainbow Dash." There was a brief moment of silence over the intercom, as a cult presumably checked the VIP list. "Alright, come on in." The door to the left of the box began to open. Rainbow Dash walked down a long gray cloud hallway, stepping ever closer to a white light at the end of the corridor. She was just visiting, but she still felt exhilarated nonetheless. She was going to spend the day with the Wonderbolts, every Pegasus's dream. Maybe she'd even get to watch them practice, if she was lucky. Rainbow Dash squinted as she emerged from the dark tunnel into bright sunlight, allowing for her eyes to adjust to the brightness. When she was able to open her eyes fully, she saw a large oval-shaped racing track with stadium seating, and right in the middle, the Wonderbolts were standing around a water trough, chatting. She saw Soaring doing various wing stretches a few feet away from the group. She lifted off the ground and glided towards them. A Wonderbolt with an ice blue mane noticed her approaching and stopped his conversation with the other female members of the group and turned to Rainbow Dash. "Hello, cutie. How are you?" I'm Glacier Breeze. Are you? And you are?" This guy's a player type guy. He's pretty cool, actually. Rainbow Dash was surprised at the forwardness of the stallion. She had heard that he was a fillyizer, but hadn't expected him to hit on her. "Thanks, but I'm here too." She didn't get to finish her sentence. Glacier Breeze's face went to a suave stallion to a terrified school colt instantly. "Oh, Celestia, not another one. I can't keep paying these foul support checks." Rainbow Dash didn't know what to say, and by that he means child support. So, foul support. It's a kid horse pony thingy. Anyway, didn't know how to respond. She began to slowly back away from the now crying Wonderbolt, but bumped into someone standing directly behind her. Don't worry, he's always like that. All those wild parties after shows catch up with him about 11 months later. Someone's chuckled from behind him. Rainbow spun around to face her friend and apologized for bumping into him. Heh, sorry about that. Someone waved a dismissive hoof. Don't mention it. Come on, I'll introduce you to the rest of the gang. He began walking down the strip of cloud where the Wonderbolts were introducing them, one by one, as the two Pegasi walked. Rainbow shook her hooves with each and every member of the Wonderbolts, all the while trying not to squeal and appear fanmare excitement. And last but not least, Spitfire. You remember her from the gala, right? Spitfire extended a hoof out to Rainbow, and Rainbow took it. Hey, Rainbow, how you been? Rainbow Dash wanted to jump up and down in joy and scream at the top of her lungs how happy she was to meet all of her idols, but simply shook the hoof and returned the shake. Say, RD, we were about to practice for a show. You wanna watch? That'd be awesome. Spitfire chuckled and shook her head. No, Rainbow, I was wondering if you wanted to fly with us. Maybe a friendly race or two? Rainbow Dash froze. Spitfire actually wanted her to practice with the Wonderbolts? To fly with the Wonderbolts? The reality of this struck her like a ton of bricks. This was her chance to show them that she was worthy of becoming one of them. A chance she had been waiting for years and years. A chance she gladly took. A sudden spark of passion flickered in Rainbow Dash's eyes, but a looming feeling of nervousness crept inside of her. This could be her big shot. She would prove herself to the Wonderbolts, but would she prove that she was inadequate at flying, or skilled enough to ascend to their ranks? Rainbow Dash looked Spitfire in the eyes and accepted the invitation with a responding, "Hey, yes." Rainbow Dash was struggling to control her breathing. She wanted to gasp for precious oxygen, but she knew that keeping a steady breathing rate was vital to the top-tier performance. Her practice with the Wonderbolts was much harder than she imagined it to be. In fact, several of them have already landed, and were resting on the sidelines. Out of the original 8 Wonderbolts, only Soaring and Spitfire were left. Her heart skipped a beat in disbelief as she realized. This wasn't some practice or friendly flying session. This is an examination. Wait. Yeah, they misspelled that. They said there's now way, but it's no way. There's no way we'd be flying this long and hard if it wasn't, she said to herself out loud. Or so she thought. That's right, a voice said from behind her, making her skip yet another beat. Dash turned to see Spitfire hovering a few feet away, drenched with perspiration and breathing heavily. I'm surprised you didn't catch on sooner. Rainbow Dash said nothing. Her sweat was getting in her open cut on her face. Wow, I'm stuttering a lot. She had forgotten to take proper care of it, like Soren suggested, and didn't notice it until now. The salt in her sweat. You forgot that. I'm not gonna bash him for that. It's just there's like an uncapitalized letter. The salt in her sweat made her wince as it made contact with a small yet painful wound. Then Spitfire folded her wings and let herself fall to the short distance. Then unfurled her wings and glided over to Soren, who was already making his way over to the pair. She's all yours, she said. Soren only nodded, looked up at Rainbow Dash, and took off vertically. Bah. She had earned a break. She flew hard today. That sounded weird. She had earned a break. She flew hard today. Like there was a break, comma, she flew hard today. Oh well. The pair climbed higher and higher, breaking through layers and layers of thick, curling clouds. Higher than either of them usually go, the two emerged from the final cloud drenched in condensation and beheld the gorgeous sight before them. Up here, far above Cloudsdale, the turbulent clouds melded into a flowing silver sea, reflecting the gorgeous sunlight shining down from above, tantalizing their eyes to look on into eternity. Up here, the two were mere spots of color between a crushing universe of gray and a blinding world of light. Soren raised his flight goggles from his eyes, and looked at his blah. Wow, I'm messing up badly. His companion. Sorry, guys. Gleaming in a rainbow hue, her mane and tail naturally emitted in the sunlight. Oh, yeah, just to let you know, I've been going through like these have I've been reading this for like 3 days. Like I kind of been taking breaks, but you know, if you actually read this, you can see little stars, and that's when I just like kind of stop and then just read it the next day. But anyway, wait, where? Okay, at that moment, everything fell away. Clouds didn't exist. The sun grew dim, and fatigue was non-existent. Oh, I forget the. Oh, I forgot to read this. Rainbow Dash looked on over, and their tired eyes met. So that's why she felt like all of existence just like passed away on her. And I know that feeling. I hope everyone else has because it's actually a pretty awesome feeling. You know, there's a lot of this story that kind of reminds me of a lot of stuff like kind of my uh, love life sort of. But I'm not gonna get into that because no one wants to know that. But anyway, up here was just Soaring and Rainbow Dash, adrift in their own reality, far away from any distractions. Soaring needed not to say a word, but simply fly, and Rainbow Dash would follow throughout his aerial tricks. He could feel her matching his every move. They became one in flight. They were no longer two Pegasi, but flowed as it what they were one entity. This was the feeling Rainbow Dash had been longing for. She hadn't just wanted someone to share the sky with. She needed someone to be one with her in the sky. The two slowed their speeds and glided into a backwards arc, aiming themselves at the plateau of silver flowing in front of them. The two plowed through the clouds, leaving two pony-sized holes where they exited. The holes slowly filled back up, and the silence once again flooded the now vacant expanse of sky. The two plummeted down for what seemed like minutes before they finally broke through an ever-thickening clouds, and the two Pegasi eventually landed on the Coliseum floor. Most of the other Wonderbolts were nowhere to be found, but Rainbow Dash spotted Spitfire at the entrance of the stadium and trotted over to her, soaring right behind. "Impressive flying out there, Dash," Spitfire said as the trio made their way down the long hallway. That Rainbow Dash had entered just a few hours earlier. "Thanks," was all that she could muster. She was so exhausted. Three Pegasus ponies stepped outside, and all were taken aback by the drastic change in temperature. The skies had grown cold and desolate. No longer the beautiful ocean of cloud it was earlier. Swirling thunderheads threatened to strike with all their might, and long ominous cirrus clouds foretold the violent storm in the near future. "I gotta get myself home," a shivered Rainbow Dash said. "Thanks for letting me hang out with you guys today. It was awesome." She forced herself to say those words with as much enthusiasm as possible. Her energy level was sapped and came across exactly so. Drained. Spy sapping my Rainbow Dash. I had to say that. "But anyway, no problem, Dash," and an equally tired Spitfire replied. "We'll be in touch." Rainbow smiled and gave a quick nod, and turned and arduously, I guess, walked down the steps she had so eagerly leapt up a few hours prior. Soren appeared to her left, spreading his wings. "Here, let me fly with you. I wanted to talk to you about something anyway." Ooh, what could it be? The two Pegasi landed rather floppily on a cloud where Rainbow Dash's mansion rested. "God, all this water is messing with my balance," Soren said. Oh wait, that's Soren's voice. I mean, that was Rainbow Dash's voice I just did there. But yeah, Soren said that. Floppily fighting, not like you could even tell anyway, but you know. Floppily fighting to retract his wings in the vicious wind. "Same here, we should get inside, where it'll at least be dry." She stumbled over to her door, push it open, and then turned to motion Soren to step inside. Soren hesitated to follow. I don't want to impose anything, or I don't want to pose or anything. Without warning, a blinding flash of light illuminated the pair of Pegasi, accompanied by an immense sound of nearby thunder, causing Soren to jump in a bit of surprise. He looked up at the turbulent gray skies. He couldn't possibly get home in this. He knew it, and he bet an experienced flyer like Dash knew it as well. Soren then turned his gaze to the rainbow-maned pony, standing in the doorway with an amused smile on her face. Come on, she said. Just till the storm lets up. Rainbow Dash turned and walked into her room, her darker home, swishing her tail playfully as she went. Soren half trotted and half stumbled over and followed her up the steps and inside. Once he was inside, he took notice of the lavish interior, much nicer than your average weather pony could afford. He figured that her parents must have paid for the house. Soren let out a short whistle. Some place you got here, Dash. Rainbow Dash was over in her kitchen. Sexist joke. Which consisted of a large cooking area and a large pull-out box of cool dark cloud serving as an ice chest. The contents through her were meager, though, not through. She wasn't much for cooking, as she preferred delivery. And no, he didn't put through. I just said though. That was me saying that. Yes, sure is, she said. A tinge of sadness haunted her words, remnants of unpleasant memories. She cleared her throat and continued with her typical tone. Feel free to make yourself at home. You know, after reading that, and after reading Rainbow Factory, which is another fanfic that I probably won't read because everyone's done it, but yeah, that's kind of it kind of seems like it's like kind of off from that, like how Rainbow Dash has a huge mansion and everything, and why she has that huge mansion. But anyway, you hungry? She asked. Starved. Soren's reply sounded like it was coming from another room in the house, but she couldn't tell where. Say, you wouldn't happen to have any apple pie, would you? No, Soren, I don't have any apple pie, Dash chuckled. I have some apples though, if you want. Sweet, thanks. His voice came from just over the low countertop wall separating the kitchenette from the main living quarters. Rainbow Dash stood back and was about to reply when she saw Soren, not in uniform. Ooh. I hope you don't mind. I hung up my suit in the bathroom. Don't want to catch a cold the day before the big show. Yeah, we won't catch a cold for sure. Wait. Nah, screw it. I'm not gonna make anything up. That's another sex joke. But anyway, without his suit, Soren looked completely different. The first thing she noticed was his coat. It was almost the same color as her own, possibly a few shades lighter. Even though she saw his wings and tip of his nose through the holes. Oh, don't do this. I'm reading this from my phone, and sometimes it'll like, if my hands are a little screwed up, then they'll, I don't know, the screen like starts spazzing out for some reason. Anyway, through the holes in the uniform, it was very different than seeing the entire image. His cutie mark was that of an apple pie, being struck by a large yellow lightning bolt. So what does that mean? He's like a pie eating contest champion or something? Yeah, he should probably be doing that instead of doing Wonderbolt stuff. How fitting, she thought. Someone's face was incredibly handsome and smooth. Rainbow Dash was taken aback by the stunning colt standing in front of her. What, do I have something on my face? Rainbow Dash suddenly realized she's been staring at him, and felt heat make its way back to her face in embarrassment. I can't tell him. Wow, I actually did that right. Like, her voice, I was like, I can't. Like all cracky, kind of. I can't tell him I know I was just staring at him. She decided to roll with it, and motioned for Soren to wipe his face with her own hoof. A prank tactic Pinkie Pie had taught her just recently. Soren was wiping both sides of his face with one hoof, trying to brush off any imaginary crumbs that have been on his muzzle. Yeah, you got him, she said, still snickering at herself. Sweet. Oh, and by the way, Soren bent down, out of her sight, and returned a second later with a first aid kit in his teeth. Let's take care of the cut, he said, still holding the box of medical supplies. Rainbow Dash didn't even try to stifle her laughter now. What are you trying to say? She managed to squeak out in between fits of giggles. I said let's take care of that cut, he said once more, but this time he wasn't muffled. Soren looked down in the open box of simple medical supplies and realized what let him speak with so much clarity, causing his face to turn a dull red. Ah, horse apples. Rainbow Dash, what was with that? That was like Pegasi saying that word all the time. Rainbow Dash brought a hoof down to her mouth in some attempt to hide her laughter, but it was no use. Unless it's because Rainbow Dash says it a lot, and since in this freaking reading that they're supposed to be the perfect couple, I guess they say that at the same time, or say that a lot, you know. Yeah, yeah, now we're gonna take care of that cut or not, Soren said, slightly annoyed. Oh, fine. I still think it's not that big of a deal, though. Oh, wait, what? I still think it's not that big of a big deal, though. I don't even know if that's right. She sat up on the ground, placing her front hooves on the floor between her back legs to support her as she leaned forward. Soren walked around to the low wall and sat on Rainbow Dash's left side where he would easily be able to treat her wound. Alright then, I'll just be a minute. Just relax and I'll be done any minute. That seems, that's kind of repetitious or whatever you call it. I don't know. Rainbow Dash did as she was told and sat still, allowing Soren to clean and disinfect the wound on her cheek, all the while admiring the gentle care he took as to not cause any pain. But as he took care of the small wound, she couldn't help but back to yesterday yet again. Don't want that pretty face getting scared now. Soren's words rang in her head. Rainbow Dash felt a nervous lump rise in her throat, and she swallowed it immediately. Hey, Soren? Yeah, came the muffled reply. Soren was removing the sterile wrapper of the bandage for the wound he just dressed. I've been wondering about something you said yesterday. Soren brought his wings around and took the bandage between the tips of his wings and moved to place it on his friend's cut, but said nothing. About my pretty face getting scared. Soren's wings were closed to her face and stopped briefly, but he continued. Ignoring the brief hitch, it began to gingerly smooth. I didn't know that was a word. Well, unless you were talking about ginger. But anyway, unless I'm saying that wrong, gingerly smooth the bandage over her cut. What did you want to know? Rainbow Dash shifted her large magenta eyes to look at the nervous Soren. Well, I was wondering if you thought I was pretty. Rainbow Dash didn't know why she was asking, but she felt like she needed to know. No, she knew why. It was the reason she kept denying to herself over and over again. Something so obvious to her, and something she shouldn't be afraid of. She liked Soren. Soren looked into her prodding magenta eyes, his wings no longer holding a bandage, but now gently running along her soft contours, of her face. I think that her heart was beating at what felt like a million beats per second, and it was increasingly difficult to keep her breathing and intensifying. Soren moved her left wingtip to the right side of her face and gently turned her towards him. She drew nearer and nearer until he was only scant inches away from her face, as if he was asking permission for what was about to come. Rainbow Dash finally gave in to what her heart had been telling her, and let go of any ambition she had about liking Soren. She leaned in and her lips met with his in the dim room. Ooh. The two Pegasus embraced for several moments, but something fell off. Soren was holding back. And we'll find out why later in part 3. Anyway, the two slowly broke in the rendezvous, and returned to where they were in minutes before, both not quite sure what just really happened. Soren had a look of regret on his face, causing Rainbow Dash to jump to the conclusion that she somehow had caused this. Look, Soren, I didn't mean to make you do anything you did. No, Rainbow, it's not that. It's my fault. A look of regret melded into a look of self-condemnation. He looked into her eyes. They looked worried about him, but at the same time hurt. He couldn't continue with the burden he had been carrying any longer. He let out a heavy sigh and explained everything. The Wonderbolts have been observing you for quite some time now, and I'm sure you noticed today that this was no ordinary flying session. Rainbow Dash nodded, unsure of where he was going with this. Someone continued a heavy, hushed tone comparable to a whisper, as if someone were listening in on their conversation. Well, I'm not supposed to tell you this yet, but we want you to become a Wonderbolt. What? She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Had she really reached her lifelong goal just like that? The one thing she wanted most in her life, achieved? Yep, we want you to join us. But the thing is, any fatigue or weariness or strange foreign emotions immediately disappeared from Rainbow Dash's face, or Dash's body, and she leapt off the kitchen floor and shot all around her spacious living quarters. She had forgotten about the kiss, the conversation they just had, the grim tone Soren painted on his words, and was simply overjoyed at the invitation to join her dream team, her idols. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna freaking do that. But yeah, she just says oh my gosh all the time. Yeah, you can go on YouTube, you can go to the little you can go type in Rainbow Dash oh my gosh, and you can play that on this part. So there you go. And anyway, Soren looked up at the ecstatic mare, jolting around with an expression of pure joy plastered on her adorable face. But that made what excuse me. That was actually a crack. But that made what came next even harder. Rainbow Dash, that's not all. At hearing her name, she immediately landed in front of Soren and gave him a huge two-armed hug. And it's like quoted as armed because I guess it's because of they're actually hooves, but they're not arms. I don't know. Sending our back hooves to compensate for the slight difference in height. Thank you, thank you, thank you, she squealed, still not hearing what Soren was saying. Rainbow! Rainbow Dash brought her joyous face in front of his, and her forelegs still crossed around his neck. Yeah? Soren closed his eyes and drew a large breath and let out what was trying to tell her in one rushed sentence. Wonderbolts are allowed to romantically involve... I can't do that fast. Wonderbolts aren't allowed to romantically involve with the other Wonderbolts, or else they'll get kicked out. He paused after saying these words, desperately hoping the situation would all go away and he wouldn't have to hurt Rainbow Dash. That sounds like weird because like he says he wouldn't have to hurt Rainbow Dash, which means if she does something, then he's probably gonna have to hurt her when he probably already did. So I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean, it doesn't like kind of feel like it doesn't. It doesn't seem like it's talking about the exact same thing. Like he's really gonna have to like beat her up or something if she. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, hoping that Rainbow Dash didn't like him for her sake, but it was not so. He opened one eye slowly, praying that Rainbow Dash wasn't sad, but again, things seemed to work against him. He was inches away from Rainbow Dash, so he could see every detail of her disappointed face, the quivering lip, the teary eyes, and the sound of her upset breathing, despite her best efforts to hide it. Rainbow Dash released Soren from the hug and stepped back. Well, it's not the end of the world. We're just friends, right? He said, desperately trying to smooth over this situation. Yeah, just friends. Rainbow's reply was heavy with disappointment and sadness, and Soren realized his best efforts didn't help this hurt any less for her. In fact, they only seemed to make it worse. The silence that hung between them was so crushing, Soren felt as if he were in the deepest part of the deepest ocean in Equestria. Rainbow Dash needed to be alone to think stuff through. Yeah, that says thing. To think stuff through. But he knew he still couldn't fly home. I should go. It looks like you need to think some... Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. That's Soren's voice. I think... I should go. It looks like you need to think some stuff. Not... Oh, wait. Okay. It's not things of stuff, right? He said he was opened the door and stepped out into the gale. Yes, that says he said. No reply came from Rainbow Dash, only a brief nod as she turned and began to slowly walk towards the stairs. Soren's heart sank as he watched her shuffle off. Without another word, he shut the door and stepped out into the clouds. It's all my fault. Every time I... Oh wait, that's Rainbow Dash. It's all my fault. Every time I get my guard down, I get hurt. So apparently Rainbow Dash had some bad childhoods, because if you saw before, it said Rainbow Dash apparently had a bad childhood before. Which, I guess I could agree with that, because she seems kind of like the one that'd have to tough everything out. But, I'd like to hear more about that early life story about Rainbow Dash. Whoever the guy that made Soaring Hearts needs to make a story about that. That'd be cool. These were the thoughts that then filled Rainbow Dash's mind. She ascended the stairs to her room, just as she did the night before. Instead of contentment, all she could feel was regret at her own actions. Soren was right. She needed to just think. Soren sat on the edge of the cloud, dejected and angry at himself. He caused a mirror he was beginning to genuinely like to hurt. Or, that sentence kind of sounds weird. Beginning to genuinely like to hurt. That should be a comma right there. Now he felt he'd be lucky if she ever spoke to him again. He may have only gotten to really know her 2 days ago, but it felt like they were old friends. The way they flew together was unlike anything he had ever experienced before in his life. He looked up at the bleak skies, pouring frigid rain down upon him. Warm, invisible tears flowed down his cheeks and melded with the stream of rain, water flowing down his body, and disappeared into the darkening white clouds below his hooves. There he would sit for several more hours, waiting until the clouds blew away, and it was safe to make the long, lonely return to Cloudsdale. All the while he muttered the same words over and over again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And that is part 2, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for part 3.